I'm working at Puratos, which is a global producer of food ingredients for bakery, patisserie and chocolate. We are a B2B company, so our customers are professionals as well, but we invest quite a lot of resources in terms of the B2B2C aspect, in terms of understanding what our customers want, as our mission is to help our customers being successful, and we try to translate those ideas into new innovations for them.
Why are you investing in biomanufacturing? What does that mean in your context?
Biomanufacturing means a couple of different things for us. We have an enzyme reality where we are producing our own enzymes. There's a lot of fermentation processes which are considered natural, but by studying and by producing ingredients based on also functional fermentation, we think it's very important technology because it helps us to deliver and bring new innovations in terms of functionalities. So we see, for instance, on market requests that there's a question on what we categorize in Puratos as health and well-being solutions, for instance, like more plant-based, more clean label. We see that biomanufacturing and biotech play an immense role there by using enzymes to improve textures and functionalities and so on, to go more clean or clearer label, but as well through the fermentation aspect and so on, to contribute to solutions that are more sustainable, enzymes extending shelf life, fermentation based solutions that bring better flavors or preservation of baked products and so on. So there is quite a strategic importance for our group on biotech and biomanufacturing.
Do you have a specific project in mind or that you've even followed where you have invested in biomanufacturing and you've had to actually scale this to industrial size?
Yes, that is what we do. For the listeners, we probably have quite easy to understand example. For instance, we produce an enzyme which is a thermostable proteolytic enzyme, so a protease. And it all starts with us by being inspired by nature. So we have a tagline, innovation inspired by nature, because it's where you find the biotech, of course. So it's not crazy stuff that comes from out of space, but we try to be inspired by nature. We took this Yellowstone protease from an organism. We produce it in another organism, so we had to scale it. We also had to scale it in terms of applications, because we started with the first application to impact the texture of baked goods. And then we saw that in certain applications, you could use it as part of a fat replacement technology, which makes it very nice, because in the end, you come back to that health and well-being aspect, but then with a clear part on using the biotech in terms of having a clean label solution, but also impacting the healthy aspect of the food and the baked products.
And looking at this project in particular, what would you say were key factors to achieving scale?
First of all, the research and bringing the focus on what needs to be done. Focus, I think, is always important in those type of very complex projects. So we had a dedicated team on the biotech part, but we also had a dedicated team on the application part. And in the end, people need to talk. So that is a big one, making sure that you align the right people with the right expertise. And this project was done in-house, but we also work together on the understanding, because that is in our DNA in Puratos, that for every technology we develop, we try to understand how it is working, why it is working, the way it is working, and to translate that into certain applications. That's a bit the same on how we work with startups as well. They focus on a specific technology, and we can guide them with other expertise, and through the partnership, for instance, we both can focus on what we are best at.
So you have worked or collaborated with startups in this space?
Indeed, and on enzymes we work with a lot of different startups, same on the functional fermentation part, because the technology never stands still. There's always something to improve, whether it's on the upstream or on the type of expression you are doing, whether it's on the downstream or more on the hardware parts. And so we continuously screen for new partners and new technologies and new tools to implement in our current realities.
At 𝗵𝗁𝗁 today, and also the listeners of the podcast, a lot of them are startup founders, often in the food space. Do you have any advice when it comes to them thinking about how to approach a corporate partnership? How should they choose that? How should they actually approach the corporate partner from your experience?
First, approach them and pitch your solution, and make sure you have a solution to an existing existing problem and that you're not only selling a dream, because there's a lot of startups out there, of course, not at pitch perfect here, that are still selling a dream, but it's good to have a dream, but it's even better to have a real life solution to an existing problem that solves something that we or our customers are facing. And then I think, make sure that you discuss, that you trust each other in the collaboration, that there is a good plan on who is doing what. Stick to your expertise, I would also say, because with a lot of startups, certain are very early stage and are still developing the technology. Others are scaling. Raise your hand on how we can help, but also clearly mention on what you prefer us not to do, so that once in the collaboration, we can fully trust and rely on each other's strong points. That's the best way to go forward.
Top of your head, what is a problem that your company currently needs fixed, let's say from a technology point of view, or the industry?
I think for certain technologies, to scale them and to take into account the economics of the scaling parts, because sometimes there are good solutions, but to bring a certain solution at a cost 10 times of what is the benchmark or technology targeted to replace is often or mostly hard to sell, because in the end the consumer needs to pay for what is in the food products. And while they are driven by more healthy food or cleaner label or sustainability aspects, they will not pay 30-40% more for a solution because part of the ingredients has been replaced by something healthy or more sustainable, which you could say, they should, but there is an economical reality, and that should be taken into account quite early into the stage. And the second one, maybe, if I'm allowed to, is because we're in Europe, regulatory parts is also a bit of struggle, you can say. We are very strict in Europe. I think all companies, they are there to innovate, and I think no one wants to be not compliant. We need to take into account food security and so on, and everyone is certainly willing to do that. But sometimes we have the tendency here to over-regulate a bit, and to, if not put a block, at least put a brake at the innovation compared to US or Southeast Asia or regions like that.
Today, what are you looking for? What are you looking forward to?
I already saw some interesting pitches, so I'm looking for new technologies. I'm also looking for new ideas in terms of ingredients or in terms of processes, but as well into companies that are looking for investors. In Puratos, we have a VC arm, which is called 𝗪𝗶𝘁𝗍. So we invest typically in early stage, so seed, pre-seed, sometimes Series A startups still, in the broad scope of what you can say bakery, patisserie and chocolate. But there's a lot of biotech behind that, which you would not immediately think that is related to that, but also with a big focus on digitalization and how we can make tools efficient and help them scale basically through the investment.